Hi, I'm M.
And my name is Bea.
And this is
Fangirls Anonymous. A quick warning, this podcast is not for kids.
We get into some pretty explicit stuff.
But if you're still with us and into that, welcome.
Hello, it is M, and we do not have B today because of reasons. But we do have Ace-din-djarin! Woo! Hi, Ace. How's it going?
Hi, it's going good.
That's awesome. Are you excited?
I am.
We're finally getting to this episode because I think I checked the date when we actually wrote the notes for this show, and it was literally February of 2023.
Oh my goodness.
It was literally a year ago. But before we get into what this episode is going to be, even though you have already seen the title, person who is listening, just a little bit of podcast homework. So we have a Patreon. If you want to support us on Patreon monetarily, we would be eternally grateful. Thank you for even considering it. But if you want to support us in a different way, you can always review us on any of the platforms that you see, or watch us or listen to us on. That would be lovely. We just really like hearing about people's opinions about us, because who doesn't like getting feedback? We also have a fic club. If you want to be involved in this season's fic club, go ahead and read the fics that we have listed underneath this episode. At the end of the season, we will be talking about all of them, and you should email us at mandbeapresents@gmail.com all of your comments, all of your opinions. It's super fun. Okay, so end of podcast homework. We are talking about Dreamling today, which, Dreamling exploded in 2022.
Yep.
And that was when we were in the height of writing fic. So I'm Ace's beta for all of her fic, essentially. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you have anybody else who betas consistently.
No, Navigator Wrong Way has helped me a few times.
I love Nav.
Yeah,
she's
they're
great.
Amazing. And recently, I think it's just been you and me.
Yeah.
So.
Which I kind of love.
Mm-hmm.
I love being one person's beta. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Editor, basically. If you haven't listened to our beta episodes, you should go listen to them. So Dreamling was like a big deal to us, and we actually still read it. Right before recording this episode, I started getting into Dreamling fic again, because you know how, the ships you read are kind of
cyclical.
Cyclical, exactly. But yeah, how did you get into Dreamling? I watched the show with my parents, and that was it. That was how I got into Dreamling, and I think you were like, "Hey, this fic's really good."
Yeah.
And suddenly I was reading Dreamling fic. It's because of you. I got into it because of you. How did you?
Like most things, I think it was probably Tumblr. I think I'll be honest, a lot of things that I watch, a lot of, they're recommended by your dashboard. People make beautiful gift sets, people write amazing fic, they draw amazing artwork, and it just, you see it on your dashboard and you're like, ooh, what is this? And then you go and find it. I think so. I'm trying to remember, but I may have actually read the first fic that I ever read, which we're wrecking later in the episode, I think. I may have actually read that before I watched the TV show. Possibly.
Really? You read fic before the TV show?
I do. Sometimes I tend to check out a fic if everyone's talking about it, if everyone is really into it. Sometimes I do go and check it out before I've seen the media that it's in.
Fascinating.
Yeah. I think I read some Mandalorian fic before I saw the show. Some Denluke fic specifically, but really? I don't remember if I did the same thing for this. If I didn't, it was I watched the show and then immediately went and read it. And just like the Mandalorian, what I did was I watched the Sandman. I binged it in 2 or 3 days on my own. And then I was like, my husband's going to love this. And I went and showed it to him and rewatched it with him. Did the exact same thing for the Mandalorian. I tend to test out the shows for him and then say, yes, he will like this.
That's definitely,
It's what you got to do. And part of, being in a romantic relationship is subjecting your partner to what you enjoy. And he liked the show. He's a little bemused about the whole fandom side, but he's just okay, cool.
Bemused is the exact right word.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah.
It's cute. Yeah. I think what happened with me is I watched the show when it came out with my parents, and then you texted me 4 or 5 months later and was like, "You gotta read this fic," and I was like, "I gotta read this fic," and it was so good. It was really, really good.
It's so wonderful,
especially because I don't think I actually watched that episode because I stopped in the middle of the show. I still haven't finished the series.
Really?
It just gets really sad.
It does,
and I don't want to read. I don't want to watch sad stuff all the time, you know. But the episode we're talking.
Episode, though.
I know. I gotta watch it. What episode was it? Episode 5, 6?
I want to say they were episode 6.
It was episode 6. So basically,
I think so.
Basically, there was a comic series. Let's just get into like the history of the Sandman a little bit. It's from a comic series by Neil Gaiman called The Sandman. And it ran from 1989 to 1996, before I was born. And it's apparently considered, I haven't read it. Have you read it?
I've listened to the radio play adaptation.
Oh, fun.
A few, I think I want to say I was on book 3 or 4.
There's so much radio adaptation for Neil Gaiman stuff.
There is, yeah, and really beautifully done. I listened to another really good one with Good Omens.
Yeah,
actually, the cast of the Amazon TV show, but reading the book, and it was wonderful.
There are a lot of different versions.
Yeah, and it was but I've listened to it. It's really well done, really well audio designed.
Go listen to it if you can.
Yeah, it's great.
But it's apparently considered one of the greatest comic series of the 90s, but it received a resurgence in popularity thanks to Audible, fucking Audible, releasing releasing a full cast radio play adaptation of the comic. The first act was released in July 2020, and in August 2022, Netflix then released the 10-episode TV series with bonus episode released later the same year, which I haven't watched either.
I really liked the bonus episode.
It was good.
I think people feel a little polarized on it. The first segment of it, the first segment is actually animated.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but it's really cool. It's really well done.
I think my parents told me about it. They're like, it's really good. Cat.
It's fun. Really cool. I think you would like it. And fun fact about the radio play, that is what made me realize, for some reason, I didn't realize it first, but the Sandman is technically in the DCU universe.
Yes.
Not DCU, but I guess DC, like, comic universe.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, movies. But because there is a character, no spoilers or anything, but there's a character who is in a mental institution who is in the TV show. Mm. And in the TV show, they don't really specify where he is, but in the audio play, they said he is in Arkham Asylum.
Amazing.
And I heard that, and I remember, I think I was driving at the time when I was listening to it, and I think I went, what? And I was just utterly, I was not expecting that. For some reason, I didn't realize that it's
easy not to
canonically
realize.
Part of the same universe as, like, Batman and the Joker.
So there was this really hilarious post on Tumblr that I saw. I'll try to find it if I can, put it in the show notes, but somebody on Tumblr wrote a short post saying, Hobb is very, like, close-lipped and, like, contradictory with his the information he gives out about his partner. There is a solid 25% of the population that he teaches at his university that 100% believe he is dating Batman. And I just loved that so much because he is kind of. I mean, he's not.
Oh,
but
that's
like
hilarious.
Similar.
Yeah, in a world that, like, Batman exists, you might think that.
Yeah, you might think that.
Yeah.
You might think that.
Oh, that's hysterical.
It's so good.
I love that.
But, like, that's the kind of vibe that you get from the Sandman, because the Sandman is like, so it's about Dream, who is played by Tom Sturridge and is absolutely wonderful.
Oh, amazing.
Wonderful in the show.
I don't see how he seems so ethereal and is an actual person.
Same.
Same. He has this
almost
vibe.
He's
to
almost
him.
Drawn.
Yes, especially in the first episode.
Yeah,
where he spends most of his time.
Especially the first episode. He's like, just beautiful in that
thin
glass cage.
Yeah, he spent not to have any spoilers, but in the first episode, he spends most of his time.
You're gonna get spoilers.
Yeah.
In this episode.
Hopefully, if you clicked on this episode and you're listening to it right now, you're aware of what the Sandman is.
Yeah.
At least in some capacity.
At least hopefully. So if not, let this be a ringing endorsement. a ringing endorsement for watching the show and then going and reading the fic.
Yeah.
If all you want to do is just watch the show until after episode 6, that's okay, because that's what I did. So you're fine.
It is a great show, though. But
it is great.
But Tom Sturridge, especially in episode 1, but throughout the whole thing, just has this amazing quality to him.
Ethereality.
Yes. Yeah. You really truly believe that he is an otherworldly being.
You truly like you it's so easy to see him and be like, yes, you are the anthropomorphic idea of dreaming.
Yes 100%.
You are a human-sized dream. Yeah. Honestly, it's so
perfect
good
casting.
And we're not saying that because we think he's hot, even though he is. It's just he's very, very good at having that like kind of royalty looking, like, not like facial features, but like he draws his face, like he makes his face just look so imperious.
Yes, that's a wonderful word.
He's just perfect at it, because that's who Dream is as a character.
Dream is imperious. He's kind of, can we swear?
Sure.
Okay. Dream is kind of a dick.
He's kind of a dick.
Yeah, and an asshole.
Yes.
But he's so well done that he's still endearing.
Yes.
He doesn't come
still
across
like
as
him.
You still like him. You're not spending this whole time going, well, why am I supposed to root for you? You do genuinely root for him, even when he's an asshole.
Yes.
It's kind of amazing.
It's wonderful. It's really wonderful. So Dream is the main character. He's played by Tom Sturridge, who we just really like. And Dream is, like I was saying earlier, the personification, like the character that we see in the show is the human personification of the concept of dreaming. So there's dream, death, desire, despair, destiny, delirium, and destruction. Those are the siblings of like different facets of humanity, essentially.
And their parents are Time and Night.
Yes, Time and Night, which is hilarious. Like, that's such an interesting concept. Yeah. It's fascinating. Basically, all of these people, all of these beings are in charge of their individual realms that affect humanity. And they can influence or control that particular aspect of humanity. So Dream's realm is called the Dreaming, where people go to when they fall asleep. People who die when they're sleeping also have the chance to be there too. Yes. Which is fun. So somebody was saying online, like, Hob finds Shakespeare there because he died in his sleep, and he just chilling reading Twilight. And he's like, what the hell? We'll talk about that. So yeah, he has like a lot of other names besides Dream. He also is called the Sandman, which is the title of not only the show but also the original comics. Oneros?
Oneros?
I think it's called Oneros. Sorry,
we're probably butchering that.
We're butchering it.
Oneros,
maybe. Morpheus, King of Nightmares, like those kinds of names.
He's got a lot of names.
That's him. So in the first season, which as of right now we only have the first season, we don't have a second season yet.
Season 2 is in production. I've seen a few behind the scenes.
I haven't. I've seen a few behind the scenes stills. Yeah.
I don't remember when it's supposed to come out.
It's gonna come out soon, hopefully. It got backlogged because of the strikes, which we are wholeheartedly for any kind of strike ever. Yeah. So hell yeah, we don't cross picket lines here. So yeah, the first season of the Sandman basically adapted the first 16 issues of the comic. And Dream is captured by a human magus.
Magus.
I think it's pronounced either way, right?
Is it? I think in the show they say magus.
Sure. I'm following your lead. It's probably magus. Named Roderick Burgess. You don't like Roderick Burgess. No. Roderick Burgess is an absolute twat. We hate him.
He's an example of an asshole who is not
likable,
endearing, and likable.
Yeah. Nor Alex.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Alex is just scared.
I'm sympathetic for him, but I still am like, you could have done something.
You could have. I mean, just let him out, man.
Yeah.
All these people are dying. Okay, we'll get into it. So Roderick Burgess essentially, like, so he's trying to capture death because his son died in World War I. I think. Yeah, World War
Yeah,
One.
his eldest son.
His
Yeah.
eldest son died in World War One, and he accidentally gets Dream instead of Death.
Yes.
Did they ever explain why?
I think just that the spell that he was using
Was wrong.
or
Do you know why?
well, it's kind of spoilers.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. But part of the reason he captured him was because the spell that he got was from the Corinthian.
What? That's
Yeah,
right.
the Corinthian was
I
working
forgot
with
about
him.
that.
Yeah, so I think the
him.
Corinthian told him that it would capture Death, but the Corinthian knew that it would capture Dream instead.
Okay,
I
so
think that's what it is.
just to explain, Dream is a person who creates dreams, but also creates nightmares.
Yes.
And so Corinthian is a nightmare that he created, like, I think, sometime before getting captured. And the Corinthian is a feisty little fellow.
Yeah. He's played by Boyd Holbrook, who's
also fantastic.
I think most people probably would know him from Narcos.
He's great.
He is
perfect.
Honestly, I don't think that there is a single casting choice in this show that was a bad decision. I think they are all cast immensely well.
Death is perfect. Hob is perfect. Desire is pitch perfect.
100%.
Desire is also one of the characters that seems like drawn, animated.
Yes. And if I remember correctly, Desire was not really an actor before. Like I think they did. They're played by a non-binary actor, so they use they them pronouns, and they tweeted at Neil Gaiman, I think.
Like, can I be?
Yeah, basically,
Desire?
Like, can I be part of it?
So great.
And I guess they got an audition and they won the part and
killed it.
Thank God, because they're amazing.
They absolutely killed it.
Oh my God! But so the Corinthian, as we were saying, before we went on a tangent, like we always do.
Yeah. But the Corinthian made it so that Dream was stuck in a giant glass bowl in Roderick Burgess's basement for like 80 years.
I think 100. I think in the comic it's 80, and then in the TV show they rounded it out to 100. I believe.
Yeah, because it was coming out in like the 2020s, so they were like, he's
they wanted
in
to
there
make
in
it
the
more
20s.
modern.
Then
yeah, because in the comics, because it came out in from 89 to 96. It's not set in the 2020s, obviously.
No. So it's 80 years.
Yeah, because the Corinthian like resents Dream for, I believe, for restraining him because he preys on humans.
He literally does, but he's not
like,
just a nightmare anymore. He's a he's a monster in the real world that eats people's eyes.
Yes, he's escaped the dreaming, and is now like in the human world.
Yep.
Yeah, is literally actively.
It's really fascinating
people.
stuff. It sounds complicated, but like
it does.
The TV show does a really good job of making it not very complicated.
Yes, I think so.
Basically, Dream is captured, stays in there for literally 100 years, and is cut off because of these runes on the floor from the dreaming. And this is a real thing that happened in history. The sleeping disease. Is that what it's called?
Yes, encephalitis lethargica
started happening at around the same time, which I think is part of the inspiration for the comics.
Yes, I think so. And
basically a lot of people in the world at that time started having, in real life, this is not just part of the comics, having, some people couldn't ever fall asleep again, and some people would never wake up. It's really fascinating, and we still actually don't really know a whole lot about it. We actually still don't know a whole lot about it.
Yeah.
But now that Dream is out again, we're fine, right? and in the comics, they say because Dream was trapped behind these runes and this glass cage, that's why the dreaming disease or the sleeping disease started happening.
Yeah.
And now that he's out again, everything's cool, but not really, because the show wouldn't really be a show if he was just trapped in a ball. And then once he got out, everything was cool again. You got to figure it out, you know. It's really good, though. Some of his stuff gets thrown to the wind, so once he gets out, which he does eventually get out by the end of the episode, and it's fascinating and so cathartic, he has to go find his stuff, and he has to go meet with Joanna Mason, who's a really interesting character too, and you have to start learning about Dream's humanity, and he doesn't really have one, but he's learning again. We meet Death, and
sorry, I think Joanna
Oh, I'm reading Joanna Mason. What's her name?
Joanna Constantine.
Constantine.
Yeah, sorry, I was like that.
Sorry, I'm reading the Hunger Games again.
Yeah.
Joanna Constantine.
Yeah, and she was originally John Constantine.
Oh, really?
in the comics.
Oh,
And
I'm so
he
happy
is,
they
I
made her
think
a
he's
woman.
actually part of the Justice League, at least maybe like a consultant
That's
in the
right.
Justice League.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
He is.
Which I
That's
think is
so
really
funny.
cool.
Oh
So
my
there,
God.
you know, more ties into the
Yeah.
DC universe. But yeah, so
Anyway.
Joanna Constantine played amazingly well by Jenna Coleman. Oh my God, she's like,
Oh,
if you only know her from Doctor Who, which is
Oh,
also
yeah,
a
I
really good role
forgot.
of hers, Clara, but you should take a look at her in this role too, because she's awesome. I
It's
love
really
her.
good.
I love all of them.
All of these episodes happen. There's one episode in the diner that I will never watch again. I hated it with all of my heart.
Yeah.
It's not because it was bad.
No, it was really well done.
It's just that I have to continue living with hope in my heart, and that episode took it away from me for a second, and I cannot do that. And you'll understand what I mean. It's a very intense episode. If you watch it, you should watch it once.
Yeah.
But I'm never going to watch it again.
It is a really masterful piece of
like
tension and slowly rising.
Think about like a kitchen sink drama with like the stakes of like a gladiator duel.
Yeah.
But but the violence is violence between human beings and their social aspects of themselves.
It is quite violent. Crazy. If you're squeamish, maybe don't watch it.
It's violent.
That particular episode. I think the rest of the episodes are
violent.
Okay. That particular one.
Yeah, it is physically violent, but when I think about it, I don't think of its physical violence necessarily. I think of its social violence.
Yes, I can see that.
That's what I think of when I think about that episode. But beautiful, wonderful, gorgeous, amazing, 1000% will watch again forever in my life. Episode 6. Episode 6 is when we are introduced to Hob, and Hob only has half an episode in the whole first series.
Yeah,
we never see him again, but the first half of the episode is introducing Death as a character.
Yes.
And Death is a wonderful character. We see Dream kind of just be depressed, even more so than he already is. And it's so good. We love him emoting.
Yeah.
And Death, of all people, comes to him and is like, hey, man, you gotta feel better about yourself. Yeah. Feel the humanity. Feel the humanity. You're too depressed, bro. Death is a wonderful character. She's so warm.
Yeah, I was about to say that. She's so warm.
She's so warm and loving, and
she throughout the episode we see her usher a few different people towards their deaths, and with each of them, she is so comforting and understanding, and gives them a hand to hold as they walk into the afterlife.
It's really great.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
It's really great.
Yeah.
Except for one person, and that is Hob. So Hob Gadling, Robert Gadling, is a person who in 1389 was in a pub bragging to his friends that he's just not gonna die. Everybody says that you have to die, but he hasn't died yet, so why would they put that on him? You know, that kind of thing. And hilariously, Death and Dream are at that pub at that exact moment. And in order, at the time, like in 1389, apparently Dream was like very like haughty, like I'm so much better than humans because I'm an endless, you know? And Death was like, we need to get you a friend, you know? And the only way to do that with a human is to make him immortal. So that's what Death does. She in her sly way makes a bet with Dream to be like, I bet you know that human would go crazy if he never died. And Dream was like, bet. And so Dream walks up to Hob and is like, I heard you didn't want to die. I heard you're not going to die. And this is what I remember from the show. And Hob looks at Dream like, holy shit, you're the most beautiful man I've ever seen.
The expression on his face when he looks up and sees Dream standing over him is amazing.
He's played by Ferdinand Kingsley, by the way, and Ferdinand does a wonderful job with Hob.
He's so expressive.
He's very expressive without it being cartoonish. Yes, without it ever being cartoonish. Yes. He's like the most human you'll ever meet.
Yeah,
it's so good.
He was such a good choice to play Hob because he is. Yeah, he's so human.
So human.
Yeah.
Well, he's like the antithesis to Dream's ethereality. It's
But in
so
such a good
good
way.
in a really good way, not in a ugh you're like so base, but like you're base in a great way, you know. Anyway, obviously Hob thinks it's a joke. It's like, yeah, mate, I'll meet you here at 1489, and then in 1489 when he hasn't died, because somebody said online that Dreamling is like a 5+1 inherently.
Yes.
Because what it is it's what you see with their lives is that Dream meets with Hob at this specific inn, this specific pub, every 100 years. That's the deal that they make.
Yes.
You get to live if you meet with me and tell me how it's going every 100 years. Hilarious. Hilarious concept. So Hob at first is like, are you the devil? Did you curse me? And Dream's like, nah, man, I'm not the devil. And so Hob's like, great, I can go on with my life and it'll be fine. I can go experience everything. Hob likes everything about life.
And he surprises
He
Dream
loves-
because Dream
Yeah.
showed up after that 100 years fully expecting Hob
Yeah.
to beg him to die, to beg him for death because he's unhappy and, you know, misses his loved ones and everything. And I'm sure that Hob does, but he is so filled with just an enthusiasm for everything around him. And it's amazing. You really see in that first meeting, the after the first 100 years, you can see Dream is truly shocked by something, and probably for one of the first times.
Yes.
By humanity.
Hob is
because Hob is just,
to him.
look, there's chimneys, there's handkerchiefs, it's amazing. And it's so
There's all this new technology.
Yeah. And I think that's one thing that makes Hob so compelling, because he's so enthusiastic, and
Yes.
there's no guile. He's not making this up. It's just pure enthusiasm for life.
Yes.
Oh.
It's pure enthusiasm for life. That is who Hob is as a person.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. And then we see every century the meetings. So in 1489, it's very much like, I'm new to this whole game, like, you know, but everything around me is so wonderful. There are chimneys. He just really loves chimneys. And then in 1589, he is married, has a son.
This
has
is
a
in
wife.
Tudor England.
Tudor England. Had just met the Queen, is very like, I'm so cool, I'm so great. And Dream is like, you're not so cool, you're not so great. I'm gonna go talk to this guy named Will Shakespeare. And because he has ideas about plays, you know, and then that's how we get Midsummer Night's Dream. And that is part of the reason why people love to fan in that Hob hates Shakespeare. With a whole lot of vitriol behind it, because he thinks that Dream was like put off by him, which he kind of was, but then went and, you know, made out with Will Shakespeare. And that's not really what happened, but yeah, in Dream's own way he kind of did, but he's like, I'm gonna make you a star. Not one of the stars in my eyes, but you know. Then in 1689, a lot of shit went down. Hob's wife has died in childbirth. His own son has died because of his own, you know, recklessness. And then he was accused of witchcraft because he didn't leave the area soon enough for people to not recognize that he wasn't growing old.
Yeah, that's part of the immortality, is he doesn't age. He looks exactly the same as he did. He's what, late 30s?
Mid 30s.
Mid 30s, yeah. Yeah, and so from Tudor times to the 1600s, everything goes wrong.
Yep. Everything goes wrong. He drowns a whole lot. They throw him in the river tied up.
Yeah, because they think he's
a witch. It's 1589. I mean, you know, shit happens.
Yeah.
And so he is down on his luck, homeless, and this is when Dream really thinks that he's going to be like, okay, it's time for me to go now. And when Dream does, and Hob is just so down on his luck, he does, I think, the most important bit of his characterization in the whole series, and that is being like, I would never give this up. Even like, there is so much for me to live for. Even though shit is bad right now does not mean I want to die.
Yeah.
And that is literally, I remember watching that, and I texted you, I think, and I was like, this might be the most important thing that I have watched in 2023.
Yeah.
Because I was going through a really rough time at that point,
Mhm.
and I was like, I'm gonna be Hob. I am Hob. Like, I needed that kind of like, yeah, shit's bad, but oh my god, there's so much more to look forward to.
Yeah.
Kind of, I
Like,
needed
things,
that vibe
things
in my
will
life.
get better.
Yeah,
You just have to wait for it.
You just have to, you have to give it time.
Yes.
If you have the time to give it.
Yeah. It's a really good message.
It's a
really
wonderful, beautiful message.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And then in 1789,
Mhm.
yeah, 1789, they meet, and Hob is somebody who works on slave ships.
Yeah, he's part.
an officer?
He's part of I don't think he works directly on it. I think that he is part of the trade.
He's part of the trade,
Like
but
the
he's
trading
on ships
business,
sometimes.
but part of it is
Yeah.
trading in people.
And
unfortunately,
so I would say that this is the meeting in which the shippers happened.
Yes,
Because Dream looks so okay. There's so much happening here. Essentially, what happens is Dream and Hob meet at the inn, and Joanna Constantine's
great
grandmother, grandmother,
many greats,
ancestor,
played by the same actress.
Yes,
because it's amazing.
It's hilarious. Comes in and is like, I knew you're gonna be here. Now I don't want to die. Because it was the
there was a person who I think in the 1500s who drew them together,
or 1600s,
one of them.
1789.
Yeah,
it was 100 years earlier.
Okay, yeah. So she drew a person got a drawing of them together at the pub.
What was it called? Remember? The Blank
pub?
and the Jew?
The Stranger and the Jew, maybe?
Possibly. Yeah. The Stranger and the Jew.
I think
it was funny. Like, Hobbs like, well, I'm not Jewish. The
gentleman, maybe? I forget. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. But basically, she heard this rumor that somehow somebody recognized the fact that they were there 100 years earlier. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, if they're around, then I want to be around in 100 years too. And I guess she kind of is through Joanna Constantine. But
yes.
So she has a couple of goons fight them for their magic, and Hob like fights them because, you know, he doesn't want Dream to get hurt. Yeah. Which is actually said in the show. Mm-hmm. It's not just an interpretation. She gets down. She like thrown down because Dream just like, you know, blows some sand in her face and she's asleep and having nightmares. Mm-hmm. Dream looks at Hob after Hob fights these two big guys.
Takes them down just like boom,
just like,
boom,
that.
Like that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Because Hob's good
effort.
at what he does. I mean, he used to be a mercenary.
Yeah.
Dream looks at him with like literally the most bedroom eyes possible. Looks him up and down, is like, you didn't have to fight for me, or something like that. You didn't have to like. I think that was the phrase.
You didn't have to like worry yourself or whatever.
Something like that. I wish we had the phrase right here, but I don't think we do. So the biggest bedroom eyes of all happen when it's like, you didn't have to go through the trouble of fighting, and Hob's like, well, I didn't want to be alone the next time we meet drinking alone, right? Mm-hmm. And by the way, I've only watched this like maybe twice. It's been a while, so I'm sorry if any of this is wrong. I'm trying to remember. But she was like, well, you still didn't have to do that. And I was like, well, I can't die, remember? He's like, well, you can get hurt or captured. Mm-hmm. And that is such a foreshadow to what happens to Dream in the 1920s.
Yep.
And the thing is, the reason why they're setting this all up is because in 1889, they have their first fight.
Yes.
Hob insinuates that maybe Dream is his friend.
Yes. And that he might be lonely.
And maybe he's just a little bit lonely, and that's why he's talking to him every 100 years, you know? Because Dream is the only constant for Hob this entire time.
Yes. The only person that he has been able to hang on to for the past, at this point, 500 years.
Yep.
And yeah.
so that has made it so that Hob is like, well, maybe I'm important to him too. Mm-hmm. And obviously, because Dream is so imperious, he runs away pissed because he dared to say that they were friends.
Dream literally says, "You dare!
You like, dare?"
Deep He's got this deep,
You
like,
dare.
not gravelly.
No, but it's a little gravelly.
Yeah.
Just slightly.
Rough, I guess, voice.
It's kind of pebbly.
Yeah. Pebbly, yes.
Pebbly.
But just, he literally says, you
Yeah.
dare, like, basically, I think, insinuate that, what is it? Like, one such as I need friendship from a human.
With you.
Essentially. Basically, like,
yeah.
I am so
It's
much,
so good.
I'm so far above you, how dare you think that I'm your friend.
And he stalks off into the night.
Yeah,
and
into the rain.
And Hob runs after him and is like, well, if I don't meet you next 100 years, then we're done, kind of a situation.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna be here, is what he says. It's like it's very Hob. It's very Hob for him to be like, but I'm gonna be here because I have hope. Hob is so much hope. Yeah. He is hope. And the problem is Dream gets captured. And he doesn't meet with him in 1889. Hob was obviously hoping that they would cool off. And I think definitely that Dream would have I think Dream would have come to him.
I think he would have.
But I think being captured really gave him a lot of perspective.
Yes.
Because after being with death all day, he finally goes to the New Inn, which is a place that Hob made sure existed so that they could visit again, because the new place, which miraculously survived for 600 years.
The old place, you mean?
Sorry, the old place, yeah. The old place that survived for 600 years got condemned in the 80s or in the 90s. And so he made a new place called the New Inn, which is a real place, by the way.
Yeah.
In Britain.
Yeah.
I love it. I really want to go.
Me too.
And Hob is there grading papers because he's a teacher. He's a professor. Everybody knows that. It's kind of fanon, but it's also kind of canon. It's one of the warmest scenes in the whole show, because Dream walks up to Hob and is like, hello, friend, like, we're friends.
Calls him his friend. And asks if he can sit down and, like, actually apologizes for missing his meeting.
They just chat
in the 80s. And it's honestly wonderful. And they cut out on them talking.
It's so sweet.
Yeah, like, from what we see of Dream in the past meetings, and he was imperious, he was kind of a dick. He definitely thought that he was above all of the humans.
Yeah.
And then you see him being actually smiling,
which
he doesn't smile a lot, but he smiles. It's a special Dream smile, so it's like a embarrassed little flick of the lips, but you can see it.
He looks happy.
Yes, he looks happy and warm.
Yeah,
and just happy to see Hob,
which is opposite.
So
of what
the difference is just beautiful, and Hob's face when he sees him is just like relief and happiness to see him and see that he's okay, and they're. Both of these guys are such good actors.
They really are. I think what's cool is, like, Dream was able to get to know the most human, the most human, and then meet the worst human.
Yes,
for like
Burgess.
100 years.
Yes,
along with his son, Alex Burgess, and that made him realize how great Hob is.
Yeah, it really did.
So, that's the story in the show. And I think anyone listening or watching would be like, of course that turned into a ship. It's almost already a ship. Like, it's basically served to us on a platter.
They go on a bunch of dates. I mean, what do you want? And for me, and for I think probably most people who ship it, one of the most compelling things about this ship is the fact that Hob, as an immortal, can't really have super strong connections to mortal human beings. And he had a wife, he had a son, and they died. And so he can only have them for so long, especially because he doesn't age. So either he has to tell them about it and they have to resent him as they age and he doesn't. Or, maybe he meets people and then he has to leave in 20 years. Yes, like Booker from the Old Guard.
Which we're going to do.
Yes.
We're going to have to do an episode about the Old Guard.
Oh, yes. But if you're familiar with the Old Guard, it's kind of a similar idea. And there's actually a few crossover fics that are wonderful.
Oh, I've got to read some. You got to send it to me.
Yes.
Oh my God. We don't have any here, but
So one of the best things is the fact that for Hob, Dream is immortal And so, and is part of the reason why he has his immortality in the first place.
Yeah.
And so he is not going to die the way that a regular human would. He is aware of why Dream is living so I'm sorry, why Hob is living so long. And there's no hiding that they have to do between them.
There isn't.
And Hob being immortal.
Well, there is. Okay, we haven't said the same. What one thing in particular?
Okay.
Hob never knows Dream's name. He just calls him the stranger.
That's true. He doesn't actually know that he is Dream or that he's the personification of dreaming. He just he just calls him his stranger.
He's just like, you're another immortal.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, he's figured that there's something weird about this guy. Yeah, clearly he's immortal. He probably has powers, but he doesn't know.
So funny.
He might think he's a vampire. I don't know.
He knows that he has some type of magic sand powers.
Yeah,
because he saw Joanna Joanna Constantine's ancestor get hit. Yeah. So interesting.
But just the fact that there can be this understanding is, I think, what draws people to the two of them so well. And it's hilarious because a lot of that, the fact that he saw Dream use his sand magic and just kind of seemed to be like, okay, I guess that's a thing my stranger can do. Yeah. That it leads to a lot of really good parts in fic where Hob is just basically he rolls with it, and Dream can be as weird and magical as he wants. And
Hob's full name is Hob Rolls with the Punches Gatling.
Yes,
that's his full name.
He's
so good at that.
Yeah, the fics are so good because, and I think it makes sense because having lived through so much history, I think you would kind of learn like, okay, this might be strange, but it's gonna happen. So cool. Yes. And so I think it's he really does just kind of go with whatever happens, even if it's really weird. If you're an immortal, things.
I'm sure the phrase "this might as well happen" runs through your brain every day.
Yeah, and the thing with Hob being immortal is that not only can he not die, but even if he is like murdered or injured, or get sick, he will get better. Even if he dies, he comes back, kind of like the old guard.
Yes,
a similar vibe.
That's why it's so. I'm sure the fic is so good. Yeah. Okay. So, speaking of fic, we got some fic that we want to talk about.
Oh yeah.
Make Perfect the Present by Moorishflower. If you want to read good, if you want to read a lot of good Sandman fic,
oh yeah,
you should read Moorishflower because they do a really good job. They have almost 80 fics in this fandom, which is insane, and I'm sure most of them are fantastic. I haven't read all of them, but of the ones I have read, I really enjoyed, and this is one. Mm-hmm. So, Make Perfect the Present is about an Omega Dream. This is a human AU, but it's ABO. In the 1800s, moving to America to get away from his ex-wife. And he is running away from his father, who's after him. It's like a whole thing. What's funny is that he was actually friends with what's that guy's name? Famous gay man author
Oscar Wilde.
Thank you. He's friends with Oscar Wilde. He talks about how he and Oscar were friends. It's amazing. He and Hob basically trying to get to California to get away from his dad, and Hob takes him. And it's really good. Hob is a beta. And not my kind of beta, but beta for ABO. It's really, really, really sweet. The Heart Comfort is particularly good, and if you like cowboys kissing, you'll love this. Okay, so the uses of adversity. That's a great one.
Yeah. So the uses of adversity was actually the fic that I mentioned earlier. That this was the very first fic that I ever read for the fandom, and I'm fairly certain that I read it before I watched the series, or at least started it, and then was like, okay, I need to watch this.
Yeah.
So I was actually looking, and the first chapter was published August 16th of 2022, which means that this person binge watched the thing and wrote it within 2 weeks of, because I'm not sure exactly when the first episode aired. Maybe it was August 1st, but either way, they started writing this fic almost immediately when the show came out. Yeah. So it's by MonstorousRegiment, and basically the idea is that Dream is trapped in the, everyone calls it the fishbowl. It's a giant, sphere of glass.
It really does look like a fishbowl.
It does. So he's trapped in the fishbowl by Roderick Burgess, just like in canon. But in this one, Hob has kind of become a little bit of a criminal.
Which is fun.
Yeah.
Just going back to his roots.
The thing about Hob that is interesting and I think is really cool in a lot of fixes that he's not entirely 100% good all the time. He has a shady past. He's been a mercenary.
He has particular values.
Yes.
He's not going to kill anybody. Like, okay, he's going to be a mercenary. Unless he has to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, in the 1700s, there was the part where he was part of the slave trade, and Dream was not happy with him about that, and I think
Dream made it known to Hob,
yes.
I don't like this, and so Hob was very much like, okay, I won't be in it anymore.
Yeah, basically. I think he had second thoughts about what he was doing. There are actually some good fics that deal with his guilt over that.
Yes, there's a really good one about his dreams.
Yeah,
oh, that one's good. A fantastic fic.
Yeah. But anywho, this one is he has become kind of a petty criminal, I suppose. And it's the 50s.
He's kind of in a group of people who do jobs.
Yes.
Con jobs.
Yeah. He doesn't.
And
I don't think he necessarily means to kill anyone. It's mostly robbing people.
It's mostly fuck the rich kind of a situation.
Yes.
Which is fun. Yeah. It's fun for us.
Yeah. He's not just indiscriminate about it. It's oh, this person's an awful human being and also rich as heck. So let's go take their money.
And that's, we still have stories like that. We have Leverage.
Yeah.
The show Leverage.
Basically modern Robin Hood.
So fucking good.
Yeah. But so this is it's in 1957. So it's already been about 30 years that Dream has been in the fishbowl. Mm-hmm. And so Hob gets this tip off that Burgess has something interesting in the basement. People don't know what it is, but they know that it's something interesting. And so he manages to worm his way into Burgess's house as a security guard, posing as a security guard. And they take him down and he finds Dream and goes a little bit mad.
Goes fucking crazy.
And it's
so good.
It's amazing.
It's really, really good fic.
So he helps, break him out, and then it's everything after that, and it's just, it
might have been my first fic too, because you sent it to me, and I was like, wow, okay, this is really good.
I think so.
Probably one of the earliest.
Yeah. If not the first, then definitely one of the earliest. And it's pretty much a Dreamling staple, I think. I think most people who ship Dreamling have read this fic. And it's really great. So if you want to check it out, I highly recommend that one.
And just rereading it's fun too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then another one. So this one was actually, there was part of the Dreamling Discord server, which I think has closed down at this point. I believe that
really?
I think I remember. Because I was part of it, but we did a secret.
All the ones that we were in are just dying now.
Yeah, the Dinluke server and everything too.
Oh god, that was...
That
do
was
a whole episode.
Oh yeah, the drama around that was amazing.
The drama. Whoa, Discord drama? That's crazy.
But so this was part of the Dreamling Secret Santa gift exchange in 2022, and I actually wrote a couple of gift fics for that one as well. But this one was actually written for me by, I hope I am saying this right, eringeosphere. It's eringeosphere.
Eringeosphere.
Yeah, eringeosphere is probably. Eringeosphere.
Sorry.
Jesus, no.
That's a really fun thing to say, though. Eringeosphere.
My brain is
Thank you. We have to keep calling them eringeosphere.
Thank you,
eringeosphere.
But it's called Wake Me Up Slow, Don't Leave Me Too Late. And honestly, the summary is just perfect. It says, Hob Gadling returns home on a sunny afternoon to find Dream unconscious and blood-covered on his living room floor.
I need to reread that again.
It's so good. It's such the perfect amount of lump and hurt comfort. Ooh. And it's short and sweet. It's about a little over 3,000 words. So if you just want a little bite size of something great, I really recommend this one. Not just because it was written for me as a gift, but just it's really well done.
Everybody knows I am a whore for hurt comfort. I have to say that at least once an episode. I'm contractually obligated. It's so good.
It's wonderful.
If you love a good hurt comfort, that's a really good one. Mm-hmm. I just love it when somebody's on the ground all bloody and somebody helps them. It's perfect. It's my favorite.
It's so good.
And then the next one's written by a really cool person. I don't know if y'all know her, but her name is Ace-din-djarin. And it's titled Paint My Spirit Gold. Tell us a bit about how you got to wanting to write this and like how you got the idea and like
So
give us the BTS.
So this one is part of, I remember on the Dreamling server we were all kind of talking about like basically if Hob was an endless or was something similar, what would his aspect be? Like what would he represent?
What would his human aspect be?
Yeah. And so a lot of us, me included, thought that Hope was a really good one. I think you said earlier Hob is Hope.
Hob is Hope.
And it's because he is
it's also enthusiasm.
Yeah, yeah. But Hope, I mean, it works with his name and everything.
It does. Yeah, it does.
He is basically the definition of, if you've seen that Tumblr post about, I think it's a Twitter screenshot, but about how Hope isn't a thing with feathers, it's a thing, it's like a girl who gets knocked down and rises up again, like bloody and determined. And
I actually have the poem.
Oh yeah, there's a wonderful poem about that.
I actually have it. One sec.
Not that I also really love that Emily Dickinson poem, but
yeah. Let me find it. I have it in my favorites actually.
Okay.
This is a poem that somebody wrote in the tags of a Tumblr post, which is hilarious. Hope is a weapon. Hope is a skill. Hope is a plant you can care for or kill. Hope is a discipline, something you choose. Hard to stop looking for, easy to lose. Hope isn't something to have or to take. If you can't find it, it's something you make. Make it from willpower, make it from spite. Learn how to weaponize love in a fight. Hope is a shield and a thing to defend, end in itself and a means to an end. So Hob.
Yes.
So Hob.
Yeah, that was kind of the idea, is that, he's not some, fluttery thing. It's, no, he's the blood and sweat and tears of, you're hoping for a better day, another better outcome, even if it costs you everything to get to it. And so...
because the one important thing is hope.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what you have. It doesn't matter what it costs. You have to have it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this one, basically, the idea was, what if... So it's kind of pre// it's not quite... like, they're not quite in a relationship yet, but they're dancing around each other, around the idea. They're
flirting with it.
Yeah, yeah. But it's not so much focused on the relationship, because if you've read my stuff, you've probably seen most of my stuff is teen or gen. It's not necessarily...
Yeah, you're not.
Like, super relationship heavy.
Sometimes you just need that.
Yeah, it's like friendship, like relationship heavy, in that I like exploring their dynamic together, but not necessarily romantically.
Yeah.
But anyway... they get a visit from Dream's father, who's Father Time. And Time
is like, what are you doing with my son?
Yeah.
What are you doing with my child?
Yeah. And he comes to talk to Time, to Hob, and
Hob's like, holy shit, hi, how's it going?
Yeah.
Thanks for giving me so much of you.
Yeah. Because he's like, there's something off about you.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I want to spoil it necessarily. You
can
probably
ahead,
guess
go
where
ahead
I'm
and
going
read
through.
it. Go ahead and read it. It's really good.
Yeah. You can probably guess where it's going.
I mean, it's written by this person right here, so it's gonna be good.
One thing I gotta say is I was very proud of how I wrote Time.
Yeah, you did a really good job.
Cool. Yeah.
He's like, so how to make somebody even more imperious than Dream.
Mm-hmm.
How do you cultivate that in words?
Mm-hmm.
I think you did a good job.
Thank you. Yeah, so I liked that. It was a fun experiment, and I have a whip of a sequel, basically, of kind of exploring.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot we hadn't put that out yet.
Yeah, like how Hob handles it afterwards, and I really would like to work on that. I have a lot of whips, as if you've read my stuff, I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
So,
but we also have a different idea. Do you want to get into that just a little bit?
Yeah. So, yeah, we did have an idea for a fic that, again, it's been worked on. We've got a couple of pages, I think, written.
Yeah, I know that I looked at my drive, and it looks like I have like a whole like ideas page about it.
Yeah, I think we do. Yeah. But basically, we're calling it the Hob amnesia fic.
Yeah. Because what if every time Hob dies,
mm-hmm.
he gets thrown into the dreaming instead of meeting with death? Like that's a place for him to be able to go to while his body recuperates.
Mm-hmm.
And when he's in the dreaming, he remembers all the times he's been in the dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
But when he's back alive, he doesn't remember ever going to the dreaming.
Yeah.
So that's why Dream reacts so differently with Hob, because Dream starts to get to know Hob every time he dies, but then Hob doesn't remember.
Yes.
When he's alive. So Dream is essentially dating one aspect of him, but not the other.
Yeah.
And it's such a good idea. We have to write it.
We have to keep working on it.
There has to
honestly,
be
hearing you talk about it, I'm like, oh, I want to
I
read this.
I want to read it so bad. I wish it was something on the list.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
I know what I'm working on next.
Yep.
After, again, if you've read my stuff, after I finish up
the Titanic,
yes. Which, we have a special surprise for the last chapter for the epilogue. We have one more chapter in the epilogue, and we have a special surprise.
Oh, we got somebody to work with us for a little bit. It's so good.
I can't wait. And we have to get it done so that we can get that.
Yes, we do. We only have 2 more fics to talk about. So, Real People by SPQR is a shorter fic. I think it's only like 8,000 words. I think it's really not that long. It's about Desire and Dream don't like each other, which is hilarious. And Desire kind of giving Dream what he wants, but in the worst way. But in this case, it really wasn't the worst way, because it's not hurting anybody. It's fantastic. Essentially, Dream wants to have a kid with Hob, and Hob gets stuck with this baby, and Hob immediately falls in love with her and is like, fuck, I can't fall in love with this kid. She's not actually mine. But he actually it is. And it's fantastic. It's really good. Go read it. Real People by SPQR. It's really fantastic. A final fic, Tidings of Comfort and Joy by XX Virgil XX. Holy crap! It's so good.
It's Christmas in a fic.
It's Christmas in a fic. It's holidays in a fic. I don't even celebrate Christmas, but it's so good. It
doesn't have to be like Christmas. Like,
it just happens to be around that time. Yeah, it's a wintertime fic.
Yeah.
If you've watched The Night Before Christmas, that's what it's called, right? Christmas Night? No, The Night Before Christmas. It's a movie from Netflix.
Yeah, we're not talking about the
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
No, we're not talking about
for some reason, that's where my brain went. I was like, hang on.
No, it's not The Nightmare Before Christmas.
I think it's A Night Before Christmas?
Or, it could be.
Whatever
I don't know. It's
a
Netflix movie with Vanessa Hudgens. It's one of those films, right?
Pretty much a Hallmark.
It's a Hallmark movie, but made by Netflix.
Yeah.
Produced by Netflix. And it's better than Hallmark, I would say.
Yeah.
But it's essentially a ripoff of that. And it's so sweet. I was reading it when it was coming out. The same thing happened when with Make Perfect the Present by Moorishflower. I was on the train reading the last chapter of that fic, and it was just a perfect moment. I felt the same way with Tidings of Comfort and Joy by XX Virgil XX. It's very sweet. Hobbs it goes in between the two different perspectives. Hobbs' perspective is so lovely. Everything about it is really good. Go read it. It's about a knight it's about Dream getting time traveled into the future and getting hit by Hobbs' Honda Civic. And it's really good. Go and read it. It's very sweet. And if you like that fic, you should go read more of XX Virgil XX. Their writing is really sweet and really good. All right. We talked a lot about this.
We did.
We could talk even more if we wanted to, but I think that'll be it for today. Thank you so much, Ace, for doing this with me. It was really fun.
It was.
We're actually in the same room, and I never, ever get to podcast with people in the same room, so this is a new sensation for me. Hopefully you guys liked us just absolutely fangirling over this ship. But it was really fun for me.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This was great. I'm
so happy you could be on it. But yeah, that's it. We'll see y'all next time on Fangirls Anonymous. Bye.